Well, good morning, and every day we rise is a great day to be alive. And welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talk podcast. I'm Slim Overton. I'm here with host Leah J. Stitt, and Thomas the Colonel Chapman is off today. He's doing what all us men should be doing, taking that preventative health procedure. So he'll be back with us next week, or he might tune in by way of comments like he did last week. So we're expecting our guests. I guess they're running a little late. Hopefully they'll tune in as the show goes on. We have guest co-host Darlene McCoy Walker and Wesley Van out of Georgia. And so hopefully they'll tune back in. But good morning, Leah. It's like you
Good
have
morning. How are you?
cold like I've been suffering with the last few days.
Yeah, mine seemed to be sinus. That's what I hope it is anyway,
Yeah. Well, anyway, this that time of the year where we
It is.
suffer those things. And Saturday started Black History Month, and we will be dealing with Black History Month the rest of the month. But we have dedicated our first Mondays of each month to hot topics. And wow, what last month was
Woo.
almost a year's worth of hot topics.
Not even 2 weeks. It hasn't even been 2 weeks.
It wasn't even a whole month, wasn't even 2
No.
weeks. And I guess he told us, but before we get started and get your take on it, I talked to Joy Reid from MSNBC, and she agreed to start us off. Wishful thinking. No, I have a tape. I have a clip from her that Louis Baker sent me. Thank you, Louis, for this clip you sent me. But I'm gonna let her get up.
Slim, I was excited. I said, "Why did you talk to her and not have me on the call?" She's my commentator.
Yeah. Well, maybe sometime when you speak it into existence.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Here she is.
The money that's about to flow to Trump's friends and cronies is likely going to make your head spin. All funded by you, the taxpayer. On top of you having to fund the gargantuan additional tax cut Republicans are prepping so the super rich can pay as close to zero in taxes as possible. Not to mention you putting the bill on those 25% tariffs on your Colombian coffee and anything that's imported from Mexico, Canada, and Panama. Oh yeah, and just wait till Trump launches his Putin-style military assault on Greenland and Panama. Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, and the other defensible behemoths are gonna bathe in contractor cash, which is really super profitable. War, like the most profitable thing. So while you're focused on the terror raids and the firings and the end Black History Month and the fake piety about merit, while Trump hires literal TV personalities to run his government, Trump and friends are preparing to pull off what amounts to a giant bank robbery. Guys, they're going to loot the federal government, hand out contracts to their friends who no longer have to worry about hiring Black folks, women, disabled veterans, LGBTQ folks, anybody who might not go along with the scam. Because when you're preparing to start the steal, you know what you don't need hanging around? Witnesses. Like, say, longtime civil servants who make the government run, whether their president is someone they voted for or not. You don't want civil servant witnesses around when you start the steal, because they might tell. You know who won't tell? Cronies who got their jobs only because they pledged total personal loyalty to the felon in chief.
Okay, that was Joy Ann Reid from MSNBC, and a lot of people say, "Why are we surprised?" Because Trump is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Day one, and a lot of people said, I think even people that were Republicans said, he's just talking. Half of that stuff he's not going to do, but I think a lot of us were ready for it. We talked about the 2025 playbook, the first 100 days, and it looks like which he claimed he knew nothing about, but it looks like he's following that book, and he has a lot of those authors of that book around him. So this is what we're getting.
It is exactly what we're getting, and The sad thing about it is that Trump's not running the government. Elon Musk is. A man who was a teenager when apartheid ended in South Africa. He was a teenager, moved to Canada. He has South African passport. He has a Canadian passport. He came here to go to college, and he was not a what do you say? I'm not saying he wasn't illegal, but he was an immigrant. He was an immigrant, but he was only immigrant here on the status, on a school status. And now this man has control of he's gone into places where he should not be because he has not been vetted. He has no clearance. None of the people in that Doge group that he's formed has any clearance. But yet and still they're going into these agencies to gut these agencies. And it's sad. It's a sad day. And I talked to a young man the other day who told me, he said, "Oh, this is horrible. What are we going to do?" And the first thing I asked him was, "Did you vote?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, you voted for Trump then. If you did not vote, you voted for Trump, and he's giving you exactly what he said he was going to give you. So don't be surprised."
Yeah, it's amazing. And you know, I guess with all the conversation and him doing things so quickly, a lot of it is distraction. We talked about that on this show. A lot of things that he says that he knows is gonna gain some kind of
Pushback.
attention or pushback.
Yes,
And while we, you know, the old saying, while you're looking over here, you
he's
know,
over there.
the real agenda is happening over there.
Exactly.
And you know, to make, especially with to make the statements now, I don't know whether the statement about the people that were lost in the plane crash,
Yes.
you know, to come out and say that was DEI,
DEI
you know, that's just evil. And you know, I don't know if that was distraction. That's just the way they feel, I believe.
And
You
you know,
know,
and the thing, James, like you said, we are focusing on him taking away Black History Month, Martin Luther King birthday, DEI, and yet every Friday, if you notice, it's Friday after everything has calmed down, is when they pull these shenanigans because they know that you're not going to be paying attention to the news. You're not going to know what's going on those Friday evenings. That's what they
right?
do it every time. Yeah,
Yeah,
we need to
and I
focus on.
saw one of the senators. I don't know if it was one of our local senators or congressmen. No, it was Crockett, Representative Crockett.
Yes.
She's one of the ones that's really speaking up and pushing back, which we'll talk about that later. We need more Democrats to really push back and challenge all these things. You know, it's coming. The challenges are coming from everybody else, but the majority of the Democrats, in my opinion. You know, we have a few like Crockett speaking up and things like that, but
it's coming from AOC, Crockett. It's the young people. It's the young people who are speaking up, you know?
Well, you know, if you go back in history, since we're in Black History Month, you go back, it was the young people that were really involved in the 60s. You know, we have the people that are getting the attention, the older groups that organize and everything, but you know, the freedom rides, they were all young people, and the sit-ins and things like that. So, you know, we're seeing history repeat itself. So hopefully it repeats itself in the fashion that it did. I mean, in the end results that came out of the 60s with the young people being involved. So, but we still need those people that are in power to push back. It's not a time, in my opinion, to look for kumbaya or, you know, let's try unity. These guys are not for that.
The days of unity is over. It's time for action.
Yes,
it's time
indeed.
for action now.
I want to switch just a minute. We talk about hot topics here in the city of Portsmouth as well. We had a new council to seat in January, and I just want to get your opinion. It's early, and we're going to be watching. And one of the things we have to make sure we do, because it was a big change, you know, where at one time the majority looked more like the majority of the citizens in the city of Portsmouth. which the way it should have been, but
Mhm.
that didn't work out. And now the majority of the council, if you're looking at that, if you're looking at race, is different.
Mhm.
So, what are your first impressions early on about what you've seen so far? I know, like, it's real early. We've only
Real
seen a
early.
few
Real early.
meetings and a few
Real early.
work sessions, but
But
I mean,
however, the latest picture that I saw when they went to the General Assembly to speak
yeah,
up on the needs of the city, it seemed to be a kumbaya moment. And I'm hoping that that picture really does tell the story of what's going to take place in in the city of Portsmouth. Hopefully, that picture truly reflects the fact that they're going to work together. We don't need the division that we've had for so long in the city, you know. So prayerfully, they're going to come together and they're going to work together. I think the
yeah, and
only ones missing off the picture was Dotson and Moody, but everybody
yeah,
else was present and accounted for that event.
yeah, and we need that when you're trying to get things from the General Assembly, because everybody is, all the localities are doing the same. So you have to show up
Hmm.
in a full force. And I think another thing that's coming back is the council retreats. Um,
Yes,
they had actually stopped the council retreats because half the people weren't showing up to them.
exactly.
We had certain council members on there that didn't feel like it was necessary
Uh-huh.
to have the retreat, and I've been to a few of them, and that's when and citizens can come and not speak during the meeting, but during lunch you can talk to
Hmm.
your representatives.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
thought that's a really good time for them to sit down and really hash it out and talk outside of a formal setting,
Exactly.
and talk about what's really going on and have more time. So I'm glad to see that come back, because it's always been an important part
Hmm.
of what they do as a council, coming together like that, and that's how they
Exactly.
form those bonds, and they can disagree and everything. But if they don't do that, and the only time that they meet is at meetings, you don't
Yes,
know
yes.
what to expect. And we saw that. We saw
And
that before.
and it seems to
It
be
was like they
calmer.
didn't know each other.
Exactly. But it seems to
They
be
didn't.
calmer heads now.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we have people on council now who are not reactive, but people actually take the time to read what's put before them and to take the time to discuss it intelligently and not to just go off on a tangent. So I'm thinking that it looks to me, and I'm praying that it's true, that we will have a calmer council who would deal with the issues as the issues are and not deal with personalities.
Yes, indeed, and of course that remains to be seen. There's certain things you can't expect from human beings, people
Exactly.
dealing with each other. There'll be some disagreements, and disagreements are good
I
sometimes.
get it.
Because you get different perspectives that way.
Exactly. Exactly.
Excuse me. But you have to have that open line of communication, whether you agreeing or disagreeing, in order
Exactly.
to get anything done. So just wanted to, talk a little bit about, and another thing I hope to see, and I talked to Tina Vick, who's a council person over in Newport News,
That's
quite a
my
bit.
girl.
We
Tina's
become
my girl.
friends. Yeah.
Yes.
And, every once in a while we just talk. So, looking forward to more regionalism between, there are some groups set up that's doing that, but I like to see the council people talking more,
Exactly.
as a region, because the individuality of the cities can remain, but sometimes you have to come together as a region in order to convince companies to come to this area,
Mhm,
because
mhm.
the show of numbers you can show as a region as compared to each individual city trying to bring in uh, a big, and then wherever they land, you share that
Mhm.
whatever comes out of that, if it was a regional effort. And we've done that in the past.
Exactly. And James, and when you look around you, when you go to small Smithfield, when you go to Suffolk, when you go to Norfolk, things are booming. Things are booming. And here we seem to be at a stalemate in Portsmouth. It seems that we are building homes, but what else are we bringing to the city? besides
Yeah.
more apartments. Yeah, we're ribbon cutting on, and we got a lot of small businesses that are opening up, and it's good, and we need to support our small business owners in the city. But what are we bringing to the city right now? All the other cities around us, they're expanding, they're growing, have great restaurants to eat in. They have great hotels to go to. We got one hotel that's
Yeah.
usable, that's
Yeah.
usable, and there are just so many things that the city needs. So hopefully the council will sit down. I mean, you can't even get a decent pair of shoes in Portsmouth. You got to go to Chesapeake, you got to go to Norfolk, you got to go to, so I mean, we got to have some hub stores here in Portsmouth. So we can shop in Portsmouth. We're shopping every place else.
Yeah, I think small businesses is our niche, and we do need the larger businesses, but we also need the land to accommodate them.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. Which
and in
we don't
some
have.
places, and I think the city manager now is doing an assessment of all the buildings, like each city manager does when they come in, and it's probably a lot of buildings we have here that probably needs to go. That would create
Exactly.
some more open space, some more land for
Hmm.
businesses to come. So you have to just be creative. I think we were, if that was going on during the last council, we didn't know about it because the big thing was what was happening at the meetings, the
Exactly.
discord at the meetings, and
Fighting.
that's all we saw. And if those things were happening, the public didn't know it because
Yeah.
we weren't aware of it because that's all we saw. So
Once
hopefully
again,
they open it up and and
once again,
and
a
give
distraction.
go
A
ahead. I'm
distraction.
sorry.
Once again, a
Yeah,
distraction. You couldn't
yeah,
focus on what was taking place. You're so busy
right.
dealing with the craziness that was going on.
Yeah, because you have the economic development department, and that was a board I served on, and they were very instrumental and very active in going out and bringing businesses in during that time. So they probably were still doing that, but we didn't get a chance to get
We
those
did.
reports
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
some of them weren't going to the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Exactly.
that's in the past. I'll stop that. I'll just look towards what's going on with the new council, and I just encourage our citizens just to be aware and pay attention and hold them accountable if they're not doing what you elected them to do. We really have to be on our P's and Q's here locally, especially with what's happening nationally.
Exactly.
Because that stuff can trickle down. Because quite honestly, a lot of things that executive orders he's been trying to do that's been blocked in certain places was going to affect us here locally.
Mm-hmm.
If it goes through like he's doing, but you know,
Well, it's definitely going to affect us locally because with this trade war that he has developed, this tariff that he's developed, is going to increase the gas prices. It's going to increase. I told the girl, I said, I went to the store the other day and eggs were $2.99. I went back the other day, it was $3.99. Now they're $4.99. I was listening to the representative from Pennsylvania. Who said that he told his better half that he was going to give. He didn't want them to know what the Valentine's Day gift was going to be. So the Valentine's Day gift was a dozen of eggs, $10, $10 a dozen. You know,
wrapped up in a
who would
pretty
know,
red bow.
yeah, who
Yeah,
would know
and
you were paying that for eggs?
yeah,
So
yeah,
so you're
and
gonna
you
feel it.
probably have to appreciate it. That's a gift.
If
Oh,
you're
thank you.
drinking,
Because
look, if you
definitely
drink,
couldn't afford this.
that's right. And if you're drinking beer come fish Super Bowl Sunday, oh, if it come from Mexico, you're gonna pay more for it. If you're trying to get some
Yeah,
guacamole, oh, you're gonna pay more for it. Canada, and I think Trump thought that these leaders from these other countries were gonna roll over like the senators have rolled over for him. I think he thought
yeah,
that they were just gonna allow him to come in and do what he wanted to do. But I'll tell you what, the citizens of Canada are behind Trudeau 100%. They are booing America when they play the national anthem at the games. They are booing.
yeah.
We've never had that before. And I tell you
Yeah, it's
what,
always been a good relationship there.
they're not backing down. Okay, he gives 25% tariff. They give 25% tariff. You're looking at a 50% increase
Mhm.
in what you're purchasing. And we purchase a lot of goods from Canada. We purchase a lot of goods from Mexico. So people, you didn't vote for Joe Biden because you thought the eggs were too high. Oh, honey, you're not even going to be able to buy eggs now. So get ready. Get ready for the big time.
And what I don't understand about tariffs, maybe somebody can explain it, how it goes, because he's just doing 10% on China. Maybe because the 10% is on China because they export so much. But it's not. I don't think it's going to hurt China. And
It's
you're
not
saying
gonna
if
hurt
they
China.
get elected, and even he's saying now, okay, now we're going to suffer a little bit behind these tariffs. Why didn't he say that when he was running? That's a possibility.
Because that's the truth.
But
Just
now,
like he
yeah,
just like he said he didn't know anything about 2025, He said he didn't know anything about Project 2025. But yet and still, first 100 days, Project 2025. And then I
yeah,
read that it was Elon Musk, and I hope that is true, and I hope y'all fact check me because we got to do a lot of fact checking now
yeah,
with what's being said and what's taking place. But Elon Musk was one of the people who pushed for him to make JD Vance the vice president. And it's just like JD Vance doesn't exist anymore. Elon Musk is the president and the vice president. You don't
yeah,
hear anything from
and
JD Vance. Absolutely nothing.
yeah, and some of the people that he has in there, all of them, yes men. That's how a king operates.
Mm-hmm.
You got people, nobody disagrees with you, no matter how crazy it is. And when going back to the price of eggs, you probably put that on the bird flu. And
Uh-huh.
the experts are saying even with the bird flu out there, there's still plenty of chickens
Exactly.
that that bird flu is not going to affect the price. It's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
tariffs that
Mm-hmm.
affect the price. And when we were
Because
talking on our show before, we talked about why they don't uh, believe the experts, and all the economists are saying that the tariffs is not a good thing to do right now.
even the New York
That
Times, they backs Trump. You know,
yeah,
they said it was the stupidest move that he possibly could have made. James, I made it my business this weekend to kind of look at Fox News.
hmm how long did you have to turn it off
Let
and turn
me
it
tell
back
you what,
on?
it makes you want to regurgitate when you hear the things that they're saying. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I said, well, these seem to be supposed to be intelligent people, but it's just like, I often wonder, how could Jim Jones get those people to drink the Kool-Aid? Now I see how Jim Jones did it because this is taking place right now with Donald Trump, with the newscasters on Fox, with the senators and the Congress people. It's just like we don't have three divisions in government anymore. What we learn in school. You got the executive, then you got the congressional, and then you have the Supreme Court. They don't exist anymore. He has taken control. He's taken control of the Congress. He's really taken control of the Supreme Court. So you don't have
Mhm.
the three divisions in government anymore. There's no checks and balances in government anymore. So
I think it's going to come down to once you get around and the people are really hurt. Uh, I mean, it's not. I mean, the people just going to have to rise up and protest
it's going
because
to have
he's
to be.
in there now and he's putting people in place that's where a lot of things or a lot of rights you might have you won't have by the time you
Exactly.
get to the point you want to say I want to protest this or I want to challenge this. Well, we've changed that. You can't do that anymore. So
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
what he's doing. He just throw, the old saying, throw everything up against the wall and see what sticks.
See what
And
and
that's
and it's
definitely what he's doing.
and
Uh,
it's the beginning of tyranny. It's the beginning of
yeah.
tyranny, you know?
So I think
So
the main thing with us, what do we do? I think one thing was keep talking and making people aware of what's going on. So this talk like this should always be there, but we also should be planning or what can we do
mhm.
to offset some of the things that he's going to do. I mean, who comes in there and counsels the price of insulin? You know,
Yes,
the, you
yes.
know, just because you want to undo everything that your
Biden had
predecessor
done.
did.
Mhm, mhm.
just like he did with Obama. And you know, so when the people start hurting, it's going to really be a challenge to see what we're going
Right,
to do.
right.
And just like we mentioned before, the young people, I like the fact that they're stepping up, and I got to give a shout out to a funeralizing Saturday, Marquise Hunt,
Marquis Hunt,
who
yes.
of Portsmouth, and I kind of knew, and I was sick, so I had to watch it from here, from home. But I kind of knew all the things he had done, but I was still impressed when all the
Hmm.
people were talking about what he'd done in like a 10 year span.
That's right. That's
He's
right.
26 years old, and I think it had to start at a real young age. Him
Hmm.
just sitting
Hmm.
around paying attention to grown folks talking, or just watching the news. And Marquis Hunt passed away, but his legacy, at a young age, his legacy will be there forever. You
It
know,
will.
even went down to Mississippi and stirred things up. And one
Exactly.
of the things I like, I had done a radio interview with him, and I had seen CNN, I think, when he was in Mississippi, had interviewed him and asked him why he's not voting there. And he was in school, Tougaloo College. He was still in school, but he was still voting in Virginia, in Portsmouth. And they tried to trick him up and say, he was really protesting and talking about voting rights and everything like that. So the reporter said, well, how come you're not voting here? He said, because I have a brother and sister that are still in school in Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And what I do with my vote in Virginia is going to help them,
Impact
their
upon them,
future.
that's for sure.
So even though I'm here doing what
Yeah,
I need to do in Mississippi,
yeah,
my
yeah.
roots are in Virginia, and my main concern are my younger brother and sister. And I thought
Hmm.
that was, because a lot of some college students change their
Exactly,
vote,
exactly.
because especially when they get that involved, as like he was, they end up staying there. So he everywhere he went, he made a difference,
It was
and
very, very impressive. Very
yeah,
impressive.
touched the
And
lives of everybody he came in touch with.
the videos that his family shared were very, very extremely good videos that
Yeah,
really highlighted the things that he had done and had been involved in. So I'm blessed to have known him, and we had a virtual meeting with him, the Alumni Association, with he and some elected officials on the 16th of December, and I got a message from him shortly after that. He sent me some pictures, and never would I have thought that would have been the last time,
yeah,
that I
how
would
about
have
that?
had the opportunity to speak with him. Yes,
Yeah,
so
I saw him at the event in Suffolk during the right before the new year,
mhm.
and he was with Ladarius Clark
Uh-huh.
at a fundraiser he was
Yes,
having.
that's right.
So I
That's
didn't
right.
even think about that'd be the last time I see him. And
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know, we talk about when we were growing up and how we respected grown folks.
Mhm.
In the community we grew up, you couldn't walk by without speaking. And I was just blown away being at a Norcom game, and he was walking down on the floor, and he looked up in the stands and saw me and made his
Mhm.
way all the way up there just to say hello.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Yeah.
and that
Well,
was something that I didn't even expect from the young kids.
mhm.
Honestly, today. And if you go back and listen, this is the last thing about him. If you go back and listen to that interview I did in 2018 on the radio, he was still in college. He talked about, even though he graduated from Churchland, you'll like this. He talked about his dedication to Norcom, because
James
he said most of his people were at Norcom, and that's where his fight was. The people at Churchland at that time were okay.
James, let me
So,
tell you, I didn't even
mhm.
realize, I apologize, that Marquise graduated from Churchland. I told Marquise all these years, I've been telling people that Marquise graduated from IC Norcom High School.
Mhm.
All these years, I was telling them that he graduated from Norcom, never realizing that he was a Churchland grad. So,
Yeah. Well, he went where the need was. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I just had to dedicate a little bit of time on the show to him. what a great young man. So
Yeah,
he will be
exactly.
missed, but he will be remembered. So
He will be remembered.
yes,
Yeah. But let's get back to this
yeah. Go ahead.
you know, let's get back to that man. First of all, let's get back to that man. I looked up the US Department of Labor and to see who were the who benefited from DEI. And number one is white women and male CEOs. The second, Latino and Hispanic Americans. The third, Asian Americans. The fourth, Native Americans. The fifth, disabled Americans. The sixth, veterans. Seventh, LGBTQ community. And the eighth are Black Americans. So,
Yeah.
he's talking about DEI hires, and you never see more of a DEI hire than you see in these people that he is putting in place to run these agencies who have no experience, can't even tell you what takes place in the agency. Now they're going to go in and take over an agency and they're gutting the agency. The people who have the knowledge, they're removing them from their positions. And then you're going to get these people who have no idea about the agencies to come in, and they're going to take over the agencies. And then I started looking at the stores and that were taking away DEI. And I said, oh, wow, we can't shop at Target anymore. We can't shop at Walmart anymore. We can't. And then I said, well, my goodness, we ain't going to be able to shop anywhere because most of them have taken DEI off of their agenda. We do have Costco and
And
Kroger,
didn't know they really didn't know they had him as a policy.
many of them did
You
not know
know,
that DEI.
because everywhere I worked, that well, when I was at Norton, I see right now Norton is one of the people that's not taking it off. But you remember when Norton was here, it was like I mean, we had everybody there. It was
Exactly.
their hiring policy was like, we need to just get the best people to sell our product.
Exactly.
And they
Exactly.
had, everybody, benefited from that. And you talk about the blacks, it's like what, 8%? And only thing the advantage we got from that was the field being open to us. We still had, I couldn't walk into a engineer's job just because of DEI and get
Right.
that job because I'm
Exactly.
black. That's what doesn't make sense. And that's what they trying to say. Because we're black, we getting these jobs, but we're not qualified for it. We're not competent. Nowhere in the world. I mean, right now, I didn't have anything teaching certificate. I couldn't go teach because I'm black. I probably could last one day, but so
and, and, and,
it's
and and James, as Black individuals, we were always taught that you have to be twice as qualified for the position in which you're going for. And believe me, those Blacks who are in those positions are highly qualified individuals. So while they're claiming he thinks he's hurting African Americans and he's hurting the disabled, he's really hurting his own people because you see, even with that freeze where they were talking about the monies, the various agencies that they were going to defund or they were not going to fund
Mhm.
anymore. That had more of an impact upon those people who were in the communities in which voted for him than the other communities. So so then they had to pull it back, and I'm glad to see that we've had two justices. I'm glad one thing Biden did was put some justices in these courts. And I mean, we still got to go to that Supreme Court that's run by
Yeah.
him. But so
One of
far,
those judges was appointed by him,
and
but
one was
he
appointed by
just
Reagan.
he
You know,
couldn't go by the law. I mean, he couldn't go against the law.
can go against
You
the
know,
Constitution.
the Constitution.
They're going against the Constitution. So it's just like Constitution, just another piece of paper out there for them. So I don't know.
So I know one thing. This Black History Month, and we'll show. During the month and to come up, and of course we celebrate year round because Black History is American history.
Exactly.
But it's the designated month, to really bring attention to it. even though we celebrate it all year round. So it's going to show, history is going to show how resilient we are and how we
Exactly.
fight back. The only thing we laid back in the beginning because we were so vocal in trying to tell people this is going to happen. And, and a lot of the people that are going to be affected voted for him anyway. So we
That's
just laid
right.
back and said, let me see how, the black people I'm talking about. Okay, we told you so. So, but
Yeah.
now we just have to, fight in a different way. Uh,
Exactly.
use some of the old tactics that we used back in the day and just make it more modern and fight in a way that's going to benefit us.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I hate
Yeah.
to
It's
say it, but I hate to say you're on your own because you voted for him. So,
and
but
not and not and Jamie, and not only if you voted for him, if you didn't vote, remember you voted for him. If you
yeah,
didn't vote, you voted for him. So
yeah. But history has shown whatever benefits we got as a black race, a lot of other people benefited as well.
exactly. Exactly.
And that, colored people, when you look at
Hmm.
the word colored people, a
Exactly.
lot of things that happened that we got opened the doors for them as well because, there used to be signs, no, what is it? No dogs, no Jews. And,
Yes, that's right. That's right.
so
That's
they're
right.
against everybody, and
Hmm.
it doesn't come out as much, but those places that said white only, that didn't mean that if you was of Spanish origin, you could come in.
Exactly.
That meant
Exactly.
you too. White only meant not black couldn't come in. It
Hmm.
meant white only. So what does that mean?
That's right.
Everybody else. So
Everybody
no,
of color was not allowed in there.
so history should show that as well. I'm gonna play something right quick because this will bring it's concerning Martin Luther King. It'll bring something back to you and
Okay.
something we might have to go back to. Let me start it. There's a little song within our breasts with words of hope and love. The melody blends as we join hands with faith and God above. Dr. Martin Luther King now tells us of this song. There's a little song that we sing in our movement down in the South. I don't know if you've heard it, but it has become the theme song. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I too believe we shall overcome. Though I join hands so often with students and others behind jail bars singing, we shall overcome. Sometimes we've had tears in our eyes when we joined together to sing it, but we still decided to sing it. We shall overcome.
Overcome.
Oh, before this victory is won, some will have to get thrown in jail some more, but we shall overcome. Don't worry about us. Before the victory is won, some of us will lose jobs, but we shall overcome. Before the victory is won, even some will have to face physical death. The physical death is the price that some must pay to free their children from a permanent psychological death. Then nothing shall be more redemptive. We shall overcome. Before the victory is won, some will be misunderstood and called bad names and dismissed as rabble rousers and agitators. But we shall overcome. And I tell you why. We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. We shall overcome because Carlyle is right. No lie can live forever. We shall overcome because William Cullen Bryant is right. Truth crushed the earth will rise again. We shall overcome because James Russell Lowell is right. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future. Behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. We shall overcome because the Bible is right. It's so. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. With this faith,
We will go out and adjourn the councils of despair and bring new light into the dark chambers of pessimism. We will be able to rise from the fatigue of despair to the buoyancy of hope. And this will be a great America. We will be the participants in making it so. And so as I leave you this evening, I say, walk together, children. Don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the Parliament.
Prophetic words that are true to today.
He could make that speech today.
Just
He could
today.
make that
That's
speech
the
today.
joy.
And you and I remember, Leah, coming up, that was, it wasn't too many places or gatherings that we had that song wasn't sung at the end.
Exactly.
And it was filled with hope. You know, whatever went on in the meetings, whatever was said, whatever disagreements went on, stood together, holding hands, singing that song because
Exactly.
it was the movement was bigger than each individual that was in that room, in those rooms. And you know, just to, you know, some people might say, you know, oh, nobody sings that anymore. Well, that's true, but the spirit in which it was done back there should be brought up, and some of our young folks should be aware of it. That particular speech, him explaining the words to the song, or adding more explanation to the words, because they were real simple. It was just us holding hands, and people would add whatever they wanted to add to it to fit the occasion. But you know, it was something that we just have to look at now because you know, this is serious. This is serious business. This guy, you know, and for one thing, you see him on TV, he looks like a clown. I mean, with the spray tan and white around
like
here.
raccoon around the eyes.
Yeah, who looks like that? But you know, and you know, but you have to take him serious because he is the president of the United States with his hand on the nuclear bomb and his hand on everything else. So you have to make sure that he doesn't.
And while all this is going on, he's on the golf course playing golf.
Yeah.
All of this is taking place. He's playing golf.
Yeah.
He's not governing. He's more in Florida than he is in the capital. So he's not governing.
2025 is the law of the land as far as he's concerned and they're concerned. They put it right in our face and we still couldn't see the light.
But you know, I'm praying that this would make us as a people wake up, realize where we are, look back over our past, bring the best of that past to the present so that we can make a difference. Now, we have the resiliency. Our children don't, because our children don't know their history.
Right.
You know, our children don't know. They don't know what happened 10 years ago, yet more what happened 40 years ago, 40, 50 years ago. So once again, I'm hoping that this will be a siren call for each of us to teach our children, to get our children prepared for, because many of them are going to be devastated because they just have not lived through situations like this before. So, but one thing about it, I think I'm praying it's going to be great for the HBCUs. Our children go back home where they belong, where people care about them, and people are going to teach them about this world and in which they're living in. So I think a lot of kids, because they're not going to be able to get into these PWIs, with them not being able to get into these PWIs, they're going to have to go back to the HBCUs, and prayerfully makes our HBCUs stronger.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of the movement's going to come from. I trust and really believe that our students that are in these HBCUs, Norfolk State, all the local HBCUs around here and throughout the South, and are watching this and are aware. And that's where a lot of the movement is probably going to come from then. Because if you talk to one of those students, I mean, you can really
Exactly.
You can really hear some, you know, you really know that they are aware of what's going on. And I think they're probably going to gather enough strength to at least speak up or do something that's going to make a difference.
And James, and our athletes come back home so they would no longer be pimped by these PWIs who have them to play ball and they don't get a degree. No one is concerned about them getting degrees. All they're concerned about them playing ball. And the whole thing about it is 1% of them may make the NFL or the NBA. Only 1%.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
rest of them, you played ball. You've been pimped for 4 years. You don't have a degree or anything to stand on once your time is up at the college. And if you graduate at all, many of them never graduated from college because all they've done was play ball.
All
And
they
then
done was play
they're
ball
in the workforce.
and didn't have to go to class. But I
Exactly.
think that's a little different with some of the HBCUs now. You know, no matter how good you are, if you're not in class, at least the ones we're familiar with, because I've seen guys that have been the top players and the coach would just set them down or put them off the team, you know, and get a lot of flack from the fans and
Oh
parents,
yeah,
but he knew what he was doing. You know, if
exactly.
you're not passing my classes, you know.
Mhm.
And I think it should start a little younger, just like I played that. I hope during Black History Month in our elementary schools, the teachers that bring it up, I hope they bring it up more than just one day. That they probably need to look this up and play that. And even because of the school system is mostly Black, but even the white children coming up need to know that history as well. I don't believe that they'll be psychologically damaged like they try to say, you know, with
Mhm.
what was it? They have so many. They jumped on woke and
Yes,
CTR, right?
yes,
And
yes.
now it's
There's
DEI.
DEI. There's
Once
DEI.
that dies down, it'll be something else. You
It'll
know,
be something
maybe that
else.
by that time they have enough nerve to just say black.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
Black
you.
folks.
But the sad part about it is, in their process of hurting Black folks, they're hurting their own. They're
Yeah.
hurting their own more than they're hurting Black folks. So it's a sad day in America. A real sad day.
So we have one. I don't know what happened to our guest, but hopefully we can get them back on another day. That you received the. I know you received the email, right? Or did you
Mhm.
just come on? Because I checked it and see if it went through. So
Yes.
it might have been maybe they forgot the day or
Yeah,
overslept. That happens sometime, but
it does.
you know
It's
we
kind of early.
appreciate.
For those
Yeah.
who don't have to get up and go to work in the morning.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to, you know, you wake up and say, oh man, because I've done that when I had a show scheduled and wake up and
Uh-huh.
it's an hour past the showtime and the
Well,
people were sitting there.
it's happened to me a couple of times too, James.
Yeah, and yeah, especially in the beginning, we were 6:30. We would have to call each other.
Yes. Are you awake? Where
Are
are
you
you?
awake? But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So
I think this month we definitely need to highlight the impact of the decisions that are being made, the impact on our community. Um, so we only have
and hopefully we can
3
get some
weeks
people
before
up here and talk about what kind of strategies or what do we
exactly.
need to be doing in the meantime. I think the biggest part should be education, you know, and dispelling all the misinformation that's going out there because even that I saw a attorney come on. Remember Trump tried to get people in the government to come out early and take
Right.
her early. And they were
Yeah.
suggesting against that because you don't know what's going
He,
to
he
happen.
he's never kept his word.
Yeah,
You going out thinking you're gonna be paid for 8 months and you go out and they stop paying you the day after
they
you
stopped.
leave.
Yeah, they changed the whole
Change the whole
system,
scenario.
and you end up with no insurance, and you know, so.
Nothing.
Uh,
And
but
I hope
the people, I think the people know now they don't have to. I think the way he came out, he thought people would just say, "Oh, well, this is a good opportunity for me to get out." I've been wanting to get out, or felt threatened. But you really don't have to follow that. You know, stay where you are, and ride it out to make sure that you're gonna get what's, you know. Because if you're still there, whatever happens, he does. I think you'll be grandfathered in where it won't affect you. But if you come out early,
hmm
it could affect you in your retirement.
and James, if you come out early, yes. And I'm telling you what, not only that, I hope they're smart. I hope they stay in place let him fire you, and then you go to court. Lock them up in the court system. He likes to use the court system, so you should use the court system. Stay right where you are, let them fire you, and have multiple court cases going on all at one time against the United States government. But James, before we go, I want to also say that you got to be intentional about where you spend your dollars. Be very intentional. You know, we know Walmart and Target. There's so many others that are not valuing you as an individual. Costco. You know what? I procrastinated paying my Sam's Club membership. I got to see if Sam's Club is in there, though. But I'm going to Costco because I know Costco values me. But also, for those of you who are out there, there is a grocery store, a new grocery store in the Berkeley area of Norfolk, owned by Black folks.
Oh, yeah. I saw that on the news the other day.
Yeah, E-Commerce Supermarket is in Ghent. I mean, it's in not Ghent. What is it? Berkeley. It's in Berkeley.
Berkeley, and
as soon
that
as you come out of
was
the
a food.
tunnel, they say they have
And that was a food desert for a while, right?
Yeah.
Now they have a grocery store.
Beautiful produce there. They say they have an amazing restaurant there within the store. They say they have the bomb turkey legs and fresh seafood. And we need to go and support E-Palmer. Well, Wesley. 2 minutes before the close. But it's time. Yeah. But yeah, let's go. We need to support E-Palmer's Supermarket in Norfolk, in the Berkeley section of Norfolk. I had some people who went there yesterday. I had people who gone there for the lunch. I'm going to go there, and I don't like going through the tunnel, but I think I would take the bite on the tunnel fees in order to go to E-Palmer's to shop and not shop at these places that don't value me as a customer.
Yes, indeed. And there's places you can find that you can go and satisfy what you need. I know it's kind of hard because, you know, it seems like those places have everything. You can't even Amazon, you know, because everybody's depending on Amazon, and, you know, and they're part of it. So hopefully they'll come to the point where they either define, I don't know what they exactly cut out, but as far as what we know now, if they cut out that training, that training that the people, the employees go through to let them know that
diversity training,
what the opportunities are.
Training. Yeah.
So if they cut that out, they're cutting out the program, and there's no guarantee that people will be treated fair like they should.
Exactly.
Hey, Wesley, you did you oversleep or?
No.
I look at it.
Did I miss it?
Yes, dear. We're 3 minutes. We're 3 minutes to closing.
Yeah, but I'm gonna let you. I know Leah might have to go to work, but I'm gonna let you make a statement. You know, because we'll be shutting down in a little bit. It started at 7, but
what time is it?
It's 8 o'clock.
Lord have mercy. You know
what? And you on Eastern Standard Time. You in Georgia, so you the same time as we are. So, but
I'm thinking it's almost 7 o'clock. Oh, Lord have mercy. I
It's almost 8 o'clock, Wesley. Wesley, it's almost 8 o'clock.
Lord have mercy.
But look, we didn't. You weren't the only one, because our other guests, we don't know what happened there, because we always give the benefit of the doubt, because things come up, you know, things.
Yeah.
But the show must go on. But we found the end. But I still would give you the opportunity. You know, the hot topic is. Now I don't know if you want to talk about say something about the hot topics in Georgia, or what you see as far as how the last 2 weeks went with your new president.
No, that was a year.
And what he's trying to do, and what we need to do going forward.
And wait a minute, Wesley, while you're talking, I'm going to have to watch on Facebook, because I do have to leave for work. But it's wonderful. It's wonderful seeing you, my dear. But I'm going to listen to you.
It is a pleasure. I'm sorry I'm late.
I have some profound words to leave with us on this morning.
That's right. And I had my clock set for this time. Matter of fact, I don't know what happened. Anyway, quickly. This last 2 weeks has been one long year. I'm telling you, I'm so glad this year is over. I don't know what in the world to do. And but we're in a peril right now. We're going somewhere, and to start Black History Month off like this, I don't think I've ever seen it where the government has shut down and said that they're not going to participate in Black History Month, and then here in the seat of Black history in Atlanta to have things that are going on down here. You know, we got our Marjorie Taylor Greene down here in Georgia,
Yes, you do.
and Collins and all them, and they
Yes.
keep stirring up this pot. But we're going to have to be, you know, we've been here before. This is not new. This is
Yeah,
not
that's
new.
that's
This
what we talked
have
about. We
rehearsed
talked
for this.
about.
Yeah, we practiced for this before.
Exactly.
When we grew up in the 50s and the 60s, which I guess is the time that they say that America was great. It was
Yes.
great for white folks, but it was not great for me. And so therefore it is the young people. This is a different breed of young folks out here. They're not like us. They're not gonna be doing a whole lot of kumbaya and marching and carrying on. These kids
Amen.
got big weapons, and so we're gonna have to tread with them very carefully. The
Mhm.
challenge that we have is that religion, which was our churches that helped us to get through the times of the 50s and 60s, is now being used as a weapon. Christianity is now a weapon that they use. The white Christian nationalists have taken their stand and saying what they want. They want Bibles and the Ten Commandments in the schools. We grew up with Bibles in the
Amen.
schools, and we had to
Amen.
say the Lord's Prayer in the morning along with the devotion. The difference was we were segregated, and everybody in that building of Mount Herman Elementary in Norcom, we were all Christians, except for
Mhm.
the few Jehovah Witnesses that were out there,
And
which
Catholics, yeah.
go out there for. But now you've got, with the integration of the schools and everything, you can't just wholeheartedly everybody just say, okay, we're gonna put the Bibles in school. Whatever you put the Bibles, then you got to put the Quran. You put
That's
the
right.
Quran, you got to put the Hindu Bible. You got to have everybody in there because we are based on a nation that's supposed to have been a melting pot for all people. Now you get your what that boy name, Musk, and who came out of apartheid. See, people forget
Thank
this.
you.
This boy came out of apartheid,
Yes, I
was
told him
run
he was a
out of a
teenager. He was a
country.
teenager coming out of
Yes,
apartheid. A
yes, he
teenager.
was run out of South Africa,
Uh-huh.
ran to Canada, became a citizen of Canada, and became an illegal immigrant into the United States.
Exactly.
This is the man that is now running the United States of America. Let's just put it out there where it is. He bought this country. This now we know American can be bought. The presidency of the United States can be bought for $270 million.
Amen.
It's got a price tag on it.
Exactly.
So now we are there. So we have to be extremely careful how we walk through with where we're going today, because you know, if you look, they're whittling everything away. They took DEI, which is the new name for black people.
Exactly.
That's all it is, just point and simple. The election wasn't about the price of eggs. It wasn't about the economy. It wasn't about healthcare. It wasn't about any of that stuff. This election was about white supremacy. And I want to be white again, and I want to make America where white folks are in charge again. That's just point blank, no other reason for it whatsoever. Then everything that you have seen them do, from getting rid of DEI. Look, a plane crash, and the man says, "Oh, that was a DEI that did that."
Yes.
But that was 3 white boys that was involved in flying them planes. So no, don't play that game. They've gotten rid of EEOC in an executive order. Now that's gonna come back. That's gonna come back, just like what's the other one he did that's gonna come back? Oh, the funding. All that's
The
gonna come
funding,
back
yeah.
because
That's
the
coming back,
game
yeah.
plan is let's throw as much shit against the wall as possible
Yeah.
and see how much it's gonna
See what
stick.
sticks. Mhm.
That's this white boy's game. Okay. And so, you know, I looked at Ramaswamy and he was standing up there with Elon Musk, supposed to be co-chair, and I said that's gonna last about 5 minutes.
2 minutes. 2
And
minutes.
sure enough,
2 minutes.
Gone.
Gone.
Gone. Now they done played the game with him and said, well, you can be the senator. The governor of Ohio
The
said, I
governor.
done appointed myself to that.
Uh-huh.
He could run for my seat. Now he's got to run for for governor,
Governor.
and he's going to lose.
He's gonna
Okay,
lose.
because he's going to lose because America as a whole,
Hey,
this country is
hey,
fed up.
what did that? I can't think of her name. What did she tell him? I'm not gonna vote for you because you're Indian.
That's right.
No,
By just
I forget her
yeah,
name. A lot of people gonna feel that
yes.
way. That's why he said he's gonna lose.
It's a whole, if you white America is so longing to get back to the 50s and 60s. You know, there was I think y'all might have seen a post I put out there with this little Asian boy was talking to the head of the National Nazi Association. And it was after the election. And he said, you voted for Trump, but you're a person that has always voted for facts. But yet you say you vote for facts, but you voted for Trump, and you know he runs on nothing but emotion and fear. He said, I'm going to tell you the truth. I did vote for him. I voted for him for one reason and one reason only. And that's because I want to save white folks in America.
Yes, that's right.
I want
That's
to
right.
keep my whiteness. He said, why shouldn't I?
Exactly.
You know, and that is the 71 million people that voted for Trump. They can play the game with me. Oh, the economist, this and that. No. You voted for that because you know this is the man that's going to bring segregation back.
Exactly.
You know this is the man that's going to get rid of all these things that caused your children to not have a job because they were lazy and didn't get qualified. And the young black kids, the young Middle Eastern kids,
Super
the young
qualified.
Latino kids that were smart and never had the opportunity because of EEOC, because of DEI, we were able to it was nothing but something to wake you up so you can say, wait a minute, I got to give these people an opportunity. And we were still at that point. We had to be chosen. It's in the movie 688. The movie about the women and the women's corps, 6888 Division of the Army. One of the statements that came in there that stuck with me was that she said, ladies, you don't have the luxury of being as good as the white women Army people here, but you do have the burden to be greater than they are.
And that's been the philosophy in the black community. That's been the philosophy.
We've been that for years.
That's right.
So go ahead on.
That's why we all went to
North.
Norcom, and that's why those teachers were like they were with us at Norcom. Preparing us for a world that wasn't fair.
When I grew up, we did not have civil rights. Y'all don't forget. In the 50s and the early 60s, there was no such thing as civil rights. That's why we couldn't go to McDonald's and order a cheeseburger. That's why we couldn't go to Ruth Chris and sit down and eat a good steak dinner. You know, we could watch the brother at the Circle restaurant and at the Sterling restaurant over there on High Street. Sit there and cook the food for them white folks and then wipe his brow and hit it on one of them steaks. Okay. You know, our generation, the boomers, the black boomers, we have been here. We grew up without the law. Okay. Our children and our grandchildren, they don't have a clue.
They don't have a clue.
They don't know that in 1870, this is the same thing that happened. This is what they did when President Jackson said, wait a minute, the slaves done gone too far. They sitting in the Congress, they sitting in state houses, they governors, they senators. No, we got to stop this.
Yeah, and Reconstruction was too much.
Yeah. So we're back. But I tell you what, you know, God's gonna get us. We are at that point now that we've got to say this is in God's hand.
Amen.
Plus, but my belief is that you've got to You've got to work. You've
Definitely,
got to work to get it.
definitely.
You've got to, if Martin Luther King had just said, I'm going to pray in church all day and it's going to happen, we wouldn't be where we are. Okay, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we have gotten. Not we would be where we are because we're in a bad place right now. But that's the piece. We got to get out and work, and we can't be selfish. If
Goodbye,
there's
guys. I'm listening. I'm listening to you,
injustice,
Wesley, but I gotta go. See you all
all
later.
right, baby.
Okay.
If there's an injustice in the LBG and the gay community, then there's an injustice in the Black community. If there's an injustice on illegal immigrants, then there's an injustice for Black people. There's an injustice for all of us, and we do have to take care of one another. Some people have told me, well, Wes, you don't need to be worried about them because this is a sin and we got this. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But you got divorced people in the pulpit preaching. That's a sin. Okay, so so let's not sin pick. But let's go to a point that, because that's going to divide us, let's get to a point that we're going to look out for everybody. We've got to look out for everybody, and that's the only way we're going to be able to make it. So how you been?
That was a mouthful. Yeah, I've been pretty good, man. And we're gonna give you 5 more minutes since we've already been on an hour, but 5 more minutes, and we'll have you back, Wesley. And I'll make sure I
Okay.
remind you, give you a reminder next time because we started. I said he'll probably be on. Come on, while we going, but no problem. But
Yeah,
I appreciate.
I don't know what happened to I got to look at my clock. I think my clock in my bedroom. I know for a fact that it is now saying 7:10.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
these new gadgets, all this new stuff, you never know when it's going to change or what it's doing
Yeah.
at all.
So
But
we do the hot topics the first show in each month,
Mm-hmm.
and when I decided to do that, I didn't realize that we would have so much. I decided to do that before he got into office, and
Mm-hmm.
and it turned out to be something that's probably needed for
Yeah.
us to every month have a hot topic thing from the previous month and just talk about it.
I
And
guarantee you, Slim, I
it's going to
can
be something.
guarantee you it's going to be something for the first week, first Monday in March.
Yeah,
I can guarantee that.
because what people don't realize or remember, even when he wasn't president, the whole time, most people, once they're not president, you don't hear from them until they get ready to run again, if they're going to run again. He was in the news just about every day when he wasn't president. And he's going to do and say things to make sure he stays in the news. And like you said in your commentary, that he it's all about distraction. Throw a bunch of stuff out there, and some of it he knows it's not going to stick because it's going to be challenged, or he knows it's against the law. But put it out there and say what your base wants to hear, or some of your base wants to hear, the ones that think like you do. And I think half of them just had hope that he might make things better for them, which they're going to end up being in worse position.
Yeah.
But the other half are just racist anyway, and they just want to see this stuff turn back.
Yeah.
Want to see it turn back, and you can even see some things of it locally. Even here in the city of Portsmouth, we always knew, certain people felt a certain way, but now I'm seeing people come out. He had a particular guy that was, we really didn't know what he was, and he didn't have to declare what he was, Democrat or Republican, because he ran for school board, and
Right.
local politics you don't have to declare, unless you run for a state office. So he was coming around to all our civic leagues and showing support and everything. And now he hiding that he was really a Republican, which really wouldn't have made a difference if he was doing the right thing. I'm not going to put you down because you're in a different party, but it depends on. It's all about it's all about how you are. You're a racist Republican, or whatever. But now he was hiding that, and now he feels free to come out and just support Trump. Years ago he never would have come out and said, "I'm voting for Trump."
Right.
Not coming to our civic leagues and say that, because he knew he would be probably barred. But he was coming there, and then once we found out, he was coming there speaking and saying, "How can I help?" And once we got, we stopped letting him speak, and he stopped coming. But he was coming. He was coming to see what we were talking about and taking it back to. And we didn't really have anything to hide, but
Mm-hmm.
but he was coming on false pretenses. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And now,
yeah.
now he's true to what he was all along.
Yeah, this is like it reminds me in The Color Purple. And you remember Miss Millie? She was the mayor of the city's wife. And Oprah's character carried her. She said she could be off for Christmas Day. And when she got off, and she said, "Miss Miller, how you gonna get back if you taking me?" She said, "Oh, I can drive." She said, "Okay." Well, the scene, she gets behind the wheel, she's all over the street. Then she starts screaming, "Oh, they trying to rape me! They trying to rape me! No, they were trying to save your life." But then her true color came out, and instead of understanding the fact that she couldn't drive, she blamed that these men were trying to attack her. And Oprah's
they were trying to save her life.
Tried to save her life. It's like also another movie. What's that movie? Where the white woman was hanging off the cliff. Birth of a Nation. And Bubba reached over in his overalls to pull her back up, and she looked up and saw this big burly black man trying to save her life. And instead of letting him pull her up, she'd rather die, and she let go and fell off the cliff. That was in the movie Birth of a Nation. And that was the one that the Klan came out. And that was the movie that kind of started saying the old Dixiecrats were ready to rise up at that point. And so we've got to be like 688, those women right there. We've got to go back and say, over my dead body, all this work that we put in over the years, and the blood that we let, the trail of tears up in Oklahoma. If all as I don't want to call them minorities, because actually we outpopulate all white folks. But if all the non-white groups got together, the Jews, the Latinos, the Muslims, the Middle Easterners, the Black Christians, the Black Republicans, the Black Democrats, and the Asians, don't forget them, the Asian folks that are out there. If we all came together and told these white folks that think they really truly in there, that's why they don't want our history taught, because our history shows that the stereotype that they put on us was a lie, that we weren't lazy. We built this country. They stole it from the Native Americans. It was like another movie. I don't know why all these movies is popping up on me, but there was another one where this man was talking to this Native American and said, "We want you to sign an agreement with us, and then you'll live on your reservation, and this is what we're gonna do." He said, "What you mean?" He said, "Well, we're gonna give you some land." He said, "Give us some land? Where you gonna get it from?" Because this was right from the beginning,
You gonna get it from us and then give it back to us?
Yeah, you can't give me what's already mine. He said, "Well, we can give you a better life." He said, "What kind of life?" He said, "My life was fine before you got here." And see, that's the true history of America. Instead of white folks accepting the fact that they left England not because they were being oppressed, not because they couldn't preach, they couldn't serve the religion that they wanted to serve, but because William and Mary decided that they were tired of poor, ignorant people. These people were not educated. They didn't have good health care, and they were unemployed and weren't functioning. So she said, here's what we gonna do, Bill. I want you to take all them folks, put them on the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, and the Mayflower, and send them over there to this new world that we got. Because ain't nobody from England left no big palace or left Churchland in a big nice house and came over to a new world to start all over again. That was the lie that was told. The truth is they were just poor. So when they came with them diseases, the first colonies of them that came, they killed the Native Americans because they had diseases. They were in poor health.
Yeah.
And then all the prisoners and shipped them over to Australia. So now here comes the truth. Because of this new internet thing, and so now they said, well, let's not talk about 1619. That's because we don't need to talk about that because that's not true. Yes, it is. It's like somebody once asked, what is something you can't find in the Bible? White folks.
Yeah. And Wesley, and when you talk about 1692 and not teaching Black history, which is American history, there's another part of American history that they don't talk about as much. The English people that you talked about that came over here with the diseases, and they were dying off and killing people along with them. The reason they had, because they were against the Italians and the Irish and everything like that. They had to construct white, white is a construct, that they put together so they can include all those Irish and Italians and everything into one group so they could grow as a group.
Polish,
but before that, they looked at them just like they looked at us.
Yeah, they had signs up one time: no pigs, no Polish, and no blacks.
Yeah,
but you're right. Race, that's where race comes in. Race is a construct. It was constructed so that white people, even if you poor, you can say you better than a black president of the United States. Okay, even if you're poor, you better than the president of a black president of a university or a college. Because for some reason they have to have this supremacy. This is that white supremacy. You can define gender, you can define culture, you can define nationality, but you cannot define race because race is no more than a simple construct. That's all it is.
Indeed. And that's why they try to make sure that all the colored people are separated, because if we came all and were under one denomination, they would be overwhelmed. So if everybody just was, you had white and then you had black, and everybody that was darker than white came under just black. Which at one time, filling out the census or filling out an application, it was just those two things,
That's it.
White or black or other, and a lot of people would sign black, because, Spanish black, black Brazilians, and some of the people in India are just as dark as you and me.
Oh, darker.
If you want to go by color.
Yes, indeed.
That's why going by color is so crazy.
The Asian, especially in China, recently, they've done some DNA research. And I don't think they're going to do much more of it. Because one of the things that they have found
was some black Asians.
Wherever they look, there's one piece of their DNA, and 100% of them got it. It goes back to Africa. And ever since they done found that, they kind of go, oh, well, let's not bother that DNA thing no more. Because we are black too, and so and they're starting to like that.
I
But you know,
saw a report on that.
yeah,
I saw a
you know,
report on that, and I'm gonna bring that up on one of our shows one time and bring those pictures up where over in China, it was some Chinese that was just as black as us, but you know, they had
yes.
the Chinese features, they had the coarse hair. You know,
Mhm.
anytime you mix one of us with somebody, you're gonna get that.
It's done. It's done.
So
And
showing
that,
your hair, boy.
and
So
and, 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 and that's one of the things that look that the president they just had a conference not too long ago too. The National Nazi Association, the American National Nazi Association. Who ever heard of such? The American Nazi Association just had a conference, and one of the things he said, you know, we don't want interracial marriages, you know, and in Project 2025, that's another one of the things that they're going to try to stop is interracial marriage because see, they know that they're falling in the minority and they do not want that to happen. They want to keep this whiteness. As long as I've got this whiteness, and this is what a direct quote says, as long as I've got my whiteness, I have superiority. Because wherever we are in the majority, we rule. We rule. Now, this administration that we have, they, first of all, there's no honor among thieves. Okay? There's no honor among thieves. And one of the things that they do, that they're doing, is they somebody is going to get on somebody else's nerve. This is why I think this is going to play out real well. And because you've got all these different egos, you got Elon Musk has one, you know, he the co-president. He's the co-president. Trump was the one elected. Now I understand from yesterday that Musk just got the codes and the keys to the bank. He's got the codes and the keys to Social Security and Medicare. So now he can get into the Department of Treasury and go wherever he wants to go. To me, that's one of the worst things that you could possibly do. Because now what you've done, you've given the keys to a thief.
yeah,
Okay? You can say, go to the bank and get as much as you want. Get your $270 million back and anything extra that you think you need from it. And I'm scared for Social Security. I am frightened. There are many of us that are living on Social Security. We worked hard for that money. That's our money. We
yeah,
get that money in. And
yeah.
now they get ready to cut it. They're gonna do something to it. Mark my word on it.
Yeah, and that's crazy, you know, and how, you know, this is where they need to, somebody needs to draw the line, because how could someone like that get, you know, the keys to that? He wasn't elected.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we know, he hasn't been appointed. He's just there, you know,
Right.
calling the shots. And because he bought it, he bought it.
He
You know,
bought it,
who
man.
spends, he bought it, you know, and you know, this, we live in a world, if you know, most people can be bought. I don't want to say anybody can be bought, but most people can be bought. So
There's a price tag.
there's a price tag for
There's a
everybody.
price
And,
tag. The
you know,
more
but
you in debt, the more, you know, they used to use that as for job hiring, especially
right
certain
for
jobs. If you were
yeah,
going to be a teller of a bank, it was kind of important that you had a good credit score, you
yeah.
know,
You had
because if you
bankruptcies
were,
in the past and everything. You
yeah, if
couldn't
you
be.
in debt, I'm gonna put you in the bank. You in debt, you in financial straits, but I've got all this money. I'm setting you up for temptation right there. You
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
something gonna get got. Uh, so it was good that you had those things in place. Maybe they should have looked. Well, I mean, come on, we elected a felon. We
yeah,
got a
yeah,
man in office that's a felon. This man has been tried, found by a jury of his peers, and was found guilty, and is now president of the United States.
yeah,
Okay.
man. I'm gonna tell you. So we're gonna end here, and appreciate you coming on. But Wesley, we're gonna have you coming back, especially during the
Oh
month
yeah, I'd
of,
love to.
especially during this month, and
Yeah, I do.
have some
Let's do another
topics
one in
about.
February. I want because I had some facts. I had pulled up some Black history stuff. I was ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hold on to the Black history stuff because next week we'll probably get into a little bit of the Black history and what I always like to, the national Black history we need to know, but it's a lot of local Black history that our children need to know, and a
Hmm.
lot of people we grew up with here in the city, or you've met since you've been in Georgia, uh, that you don't hear about a lot, but they've done
Right.
some significant things in their localities. And if you go back to the civil rights movements back there, you had the national movement, but
Hmm.
the local movements were the most important things.
Oh
The
yeah.
national
Yeah.
movement was a guide for what we did here in the city of Portsmouth, because
Yes,
sometimes you
indeed.
had to cater it towards that area. Certain
Yes, sir.
things you knew what you could do and what you couldn't do.
Yeah,
It
Great
might
Bridge
not
won't,
match
won't
up.
move nowhere. Yes, indeed.
Right, right.
Great
So
Bridge
we're
is
gonna
not moving.
indeed we're gonna get into that. So before we end, I'm gonna play a little bit of these Morehouse singers. And before you came on, I played a little bit of the song of "We Shall Overcome" that we used to sing
Hmm.
at every gathering we had, and it had, go back and look at it. It had Martin Luther King describing what that song meant.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
go out a little bit on having the
Good opening.
Morehouse
Yeah.
College Glee Club sing a little bit of that, because that was something, and you can remember even as a kid, we would get dragged to these things, and it wasn't an event that we went to that, and if it was arguments or whatever went on, that it didn't end and that we shall overcome.
That's right.
You know, unity was always showed, and we had to hold hands, was always showed at the end. You know, and you had to hold the hands of that guy you just finished having having an argument with.
Yeah, and then you walk out laughing. You say, you
So you
know
walk
what?
out
We
laughing and say,
disagree,
"Oh,
but we're going to agree to be
yeah,
disagree,
yeah."
but not
But
be
we
disagreeable. That's how
but
we
we're gonna
did it.
walk out and do what we decide to do. Protest, whatever
That's
it
right.
is. So I'm gonna
That's
end with
right.
that, and I'll be in touch with you, brother. I want to thank everybody for watching, and make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, and join us next Monday morning as we'll get into a little bit of the Black History Month, American history.
That- See you, Slim.
Okay, thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time. Be our guest on the Portsmouth